The applause from the village square still echoed in Amma's ears as she sat alone in her room, the night air cool against her skin. She had danced, and she had succeeded, but the whisper from the sea haunted her. It was a reminder that there were consequences she could not avoid. She stared at her reflection in the small, cracked mirror on the wall. Her eyes looked different, deeper somehow, as if they held a secret she was just beginning to understand. A soft knock on her door broke her thoughts. Amma turned to see her mother, Aphia, standing there, her face filled with pride and relief. "Amma, you were incredible," Aphia whispered, stepping inside. She knelt beside her daughter, cupping her face in her hands. "I knew you could do it. You were beautiful out there." Amma forced a smile, her heart heavy. "Thank you, Mama," she said quietly. She wanted to tell her mother about the whisper, about the shadow that seemed to follow her even now. But she couldn't bring herself to do it. Aphia had worried enough, and tonight was supposed to be a night of celebration, not fear. Aphia stood, her eyes shining with tears. "The whole village is talking about you. They can't believe how beautifully you danced. Come, Amma, come join us. Everyone wants to see you." Amma hesitated. She felt exhausted, the weight of the promise she had made pressing down on her, but she knew she couldn't refuse. She owed it to her mother, to her village, to at least pretend to share in their joy. She stood, taking her mother's hand. "Okay, Mama. Let's go." The village square was alive with celebration. The drums pounded, people danced, and laughter filled the air. Amma moved through the crowd, her smile polite, but her heart distant. Kofi appeared at her side, his eyes filled with excitement. "There she is, the star of the night," he shouted, pulling her into a playful embrace. "You were amazing, Amma. You showed everyone." Amma smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. She looked at Kofi, her voice barely audible over the noise of the celebration. "Kofi, I need to talk to you. Somewhere quiet." Kofi's smile faltered, and he nodded. He led her away from the crowd, to the edge of the village where the noise faded, and the night seemed still. "What's wrong, Amma?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. Amma took a deep breath, her hands trembling. "Kofi, when I was dancing, I heard it again. The whisper. It said the price must be paid." She looked at him, her eyes wide with fear. "I don't know what it means, but I feel like something is coming. Something I can't stop." Kofi's expression grew serious, and he took her hands in his. "Amma, whatever it is, we'll face it together. You're not alone. We'll figure this out." Amma nodded, but the fear in her heart did not lessen. She knew Kofi wanted to help, but this was something beyond his understanding. It was beyond hers. She could feel the power of the sea within her, but it was not hers to control. It was a borrowed gift, and the time had come to pay the debt. That night, Amma could not sleep. She lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. The whisper echoed in her ears, growing louder, more insistent. She closed her eyes, trying to shut it out, but it was no use. The price must be paid. The words filled her mind, drowning out everything else. Suddenly, she felt a chill, a coldness that seemed to seep into her bones. Amma sat up, her breath catching in her throat. The room was dark, but there, in the corner, she saw it, a shadow, darker than the night, shifting and moving as if it were alive. Amma's heart pounded, fear gripping her. The shadow moved closer, and the whisper grew louder, echoing in her mind. "The price must be paid," it said, the voice cold and unforgiving. Amma's body trembled, and she felt a tear slip down her cheek. "What do you want?" she whispered, her voice shaking. The shadow seemed to swell, filling the room with its darkness. "Your promise," it whispered. "You took our gift. Now, you must serve." Amma's heart sank. She had known there would be a cost, but she hadn't known what it would be. The shadow moved closer, its presence overwhelming. Amma felt her body grow cold, her strength fading. She closed her eyes, her mind racing. She had to be strong. She had to find a way to fight this. Suddenly, she felt a warmth, a light that seemed to cut through the darkness. Amma opened her eyes to see her mother standing in the doorway, her face filled with determination. Aphia stepped forward, her voice strong. You will not take her, she said, her words filled with power. My daughter is not yours to claim. The shadow hesitated, as if unsure. Aphia moved closer, her eyes locked on the darkness. Leave this place, she commanded, her voice unwavering. You have no power here. The shadow seemed to shrink, its darkness fading. The whisper grew fainter, and then, it was gone. The room grew still, the coldness replaced by warmth. Amma fell back onto her bed, tears streaming down her face. Aphia rushed to her side, wrapping her arms around her daughter, holding her close. Mama, Amma whispered, her voice breaking. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing. Aphia held her tighter, her own tears falling. Hush, Amma. It's over now. You're safe. But deep down, Amma knew it wasn't over. The shadow had retreated, but it was not gone. The price had not been paid, and the sea would not forget. Amma closed her eyes, holding on to her mother, her heart heavy. She had faced the darkness tonight, but she knew it would return. And when it did, she would be ready. For now, she was safe. And that was enough.